Hey, it's Brian Payton Joyner, and we're back, and we're gonna make a delicious pumpkin ravioli with pancetta, arugula, ricotta, and then just a little bit of honey drizzled on that. This is gonna have your sweet, sour, salty, bitter, umami, fat, all the 6 flavors that you're gonna wanna have as a pop in every dish. What we're gonna start with is, as the base for our pasta sauce, I'm gonna use this pumpkin soup. And this pumpkin soup, as you can see, it's pretty watery. So I'm going to want to take that and I'm going to really want to reduce that down. You know, sort of like I said I like to do with all soups. Just really just take them and reduce them. So I've got the pumpkin soup in the pan. I'm going to add this pancetta. I've got this pan already warmed up. Now, pancetta is an Italian style bacon, and I like getting this here that's already sort of chopped up. And you just put that in a pan. You can immediately, if the pan's hot, you know it's right because you hear it sizzle. I've got this red onion that I have chopped up. This is about half of a red onion. I'm gonna put that in there. Because the pancetta has so much fat in it, I'm not gonna need to add any additional oil. But I do wanna go ahead and add some of my seasonings here. And what I'm gonna add is just a basic Italian seasoning, oregano, parsley, basil, probably a little thyme. I'm gonna add that in there. Oh my God, that already starts to smell amazing, and I just threw it in there. When you have people over for dinner, anytime you're going to saute garlic, onion, you're gonna get this amazing waft of aroma throughout the house. I remember one of the first times that I had my husband over, this is when we were still dating obviously, when I had my husband over for dinner, I had made a risotto, and the first thing that I always did in the risotto was to saute some sweet onions, because I grew up from South Carolina. We always used Vidalia onions. So I sauteed some sweet onions, and it just had this amazing aroma. So when you walk in and you get that smell, your taste buds start firing. You already get a little bit hungry. Now, as I look at this pumpkin, I see that it's not really starting to heat up that much yet. So I'm going to turn up the heat on that, on my stove here. I'm going to stir it. Maybe I'll just kick it up for a little bit until it starts to get a little bit of a bubble. And one thing with this pancetta is you don't want the pancetta to cook too fast, because one of the big things that you want to do is you want to render a lot of that fat out of it. And what that will do is sort of the fat will render out, and then it sort of fries the rest of it, and you get this really delicious crunchy flavor from that pancetta. And it's something that is going to make this dish really shine. I'm going to talk about the rest of the items that we're going to put in here. I have this pumpkin ravioli that I got at Trader Joe's. You can find all sorts of pumpkin products. Seems like just about everybody's making them this time of year. So one of the things I'm going to add is a little creaminess, and I have this ricotta cheese. Ricotta cheese, it's a fairly mild cheese, but it's something that's going to add a richness and a creaminess to this dish. I also have some arugula that we're going to throw in at the very end. Arugula is a bitter green, and that's going to sort of cut the sweetness of this pumpkin soup, this pumpkin sauce that I'm making. You can see that is at a nice roaring boil right now, and because it is so thin, I can go ahead and let it kind of boil a little bit more. Then the final thing that I'm going to do at the end is I'm going to drizzle it in a little honey. And I just have this honey, which you keep in you don't keep honey in the refrigerator, you want to keep it in your pantry. But even in the pantry, that's crystallized a little bit. So what I'm doing is I'm just heating it up a little bit in some hot water that I'd actually taken from the pan here where I have my water going for the pasta. Oh my God, the pancetta and the onion and just a little bit of that is really incredible. You can tell I want to add a little bit of Italian seasoning to that. Okay, that's ready to go at any time. take a while, so we don't just stop. Okay, so we're back. As you can see, this is very nice and toasty. So you get sort of that frothiness. You know that the bacon, you know, which is the pancetta's Italian bacon, you know that that's done. You're going to want to drain that on a paper towel, and you're going to want to make sure that you kind of spread it out so all the little bits and pieces can be drained. Ah, that looks really good. It might look like it's a little bit toasty, but I can assure you, oh my God, they're so good. But it gives you that smokiness. It's almost like a nuttiness because I've cooked it like that. You can see that this is really thickening up a lot more so than it was, but it's not as thick as I would like it. So one thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to add this. This is a fat-free ricotta cheese, and I'm just going to add this. This is going to really thicken that up very nicely. And it's going to meld in there. You're going to have this luscious sauce. And I'm going to go ahead now and I'm going to cook this pumpkin ravioli. Now ravioli, if it's fresh like this, is not going to take very long at all. It's only going to take a couple minutes. And it's kind of difficult with ravioli to kind of tell when it's ready versus, this is my boiling water here with some salt I've added. With ravioli, it's kind of difficult to tell how to open the packages because they make them somehow child-proof as if there's narcotics in here, which maybe pumpkin, to some people, is narcotics. I know my mom thinks that for my husband, it's kind of like a drug or something. Like my mom was just in Ohio where they grow a lot of pumpkins, and she said that they have pumpkin everything. It's like you go into the store and they have pumpkin bagels, and they have pumpkin muffins, and they have pumpkin pies and cheesecakes and lattes and pretty much everything pumpkin, and there's pumpkin patches everywhere. So she called me up as they were coming back. She said, "Oh, I know LJ would love being here because I know how much he loves pumpkin." And you know, she's a very funny woman, so you see how orange this is. I think from what she said, the pumpkins in Ohio were the most orange she's seen. And she said that they were even more orange than Donald Trump's skin. Now, I'm not one to get political on my cooking shows, but that's just my mama. My pasta's done. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just use this slotted spoon here. One of the things, if you noticed while the pasta was cooking, was I did not allow it to come to a sort of a roaring boil. Ravioli can be pretty delicate, so you want to be a little more careful with ravioli. A lot of times, instead of just dumping the water, you know, like off in the sink, I'm just going to do it like this. Also, one of the benefits is if for some reason, you know, this ravioli weren't done, it'd be pretty easy for me just to throw it back in the water. But the way that you test a ravioli is you want to just cut off a little bit of the corner there, and then that way you can tell if the pasta's done. Some people say it's when they float to the top, and I think that's true for some things, but I haven't found that to be completely true for everything. So I still have all my hot water ready to go if for some reason these raviolis weren't ready, but they are. So just a little tip, so sort of, you know, drip that water back into there. So I'm gonna do 4 or 5 ravioli onto each of these plates. I'm gonna throw a little bit more arugula down because I think probably is sweet. When I tasted that sauce again, it was pretty sweet. So I'm just gonna throw a little bit of fresh arugula. Looks a little crazy, but that is just gonna melt in the pasta there. So I'm gonna do a little bit of this arugula, my pasta sauce. You don't have to use all the sauce. If you make more sauce, don't drown your pasta. I'm going to add this pancetta with the red onion. You can see this dish, you've got the orange and the yellow and the green and the vibrancy of the pancetta. Oh my God, this is such a beautiful dish. I'm gonna dig in here and I'm gonna have a bite of this. The pancetta is really nice and flavorful. You can taste that little bit of that red onion that has like a caramelized flavor, the sweetness of the pumpkin, along with the bitterness of the arugula. This is a fantastically balanced dish. This is Brian Payton Joyner. Thank you all for watching my video. Have a great week.